My sister Quinn crushed my daughter's glasses under her boot like they were made of paper. Then she made Mitchell, my 10-year-old with severe myopia, clean her entire basement while nearly blind. I didn't yell. I didn't threaten. I just smiled, walked out, and 6 hours later, I made one phone call that ended her marriage, her business, and her standing in our family forever. You know that feeling when you walk into a room and your gut screams, something's wrong, before your brain catches up? That's what hit me the second I stepped into Quinn's house. I'm a software engineer. I work remotely, which sounds like freedom until you realize it means your family thinks you're always available. Can you watch the kids? Can you help me move? Can you drop everything because I need you right now? The answer's always yes, because that's what you do when you're the youngest sibling who spent your entire childhood trying to earn a spot at the table. Quinn is 5 years older. Stephen, our brother, is 3 years older. Growing up, they were a unit. I was the accident, the oops baby, the one who showed up and disrupted the established order. Mom loved me, sure, but Mom also loved peace, and peace meant not rocking Quinn's boat. Quinn learned early that tears were currency. If something went wrong, she cried first. If someone got in trouble, she cried harder. Mom would swoop in, comfort her, and suddenly I was the villain in a story I didn't even know I was part of. Stephen learned to fade into the background. He's not a bad guy, just absent. Physically present, emotionally checked out. The human equivalent of elevator music. By the time I hit high school, I had accepted my role. The backup character, the supporting cast, the one who exists to make everyone else's life easier. I met my ex-husband Blake during college. He was charming in that way people are when they're performing charm rather than being genuine. I didn't see it then. I saw someone who paid attention to me, someone who made me feel chosen. We had Mitchell when I was 24. She arrived early, tiny and screaming, with my dark hair and Blake's stubborn chin. The nurses handed her to me, and something rewired in my brain. This person, this tiny human, she was mine to protect. Blake laughed when Mitchell was 3. Not dramatically. He didn't storm out or cheat or have some explosive revelation. He just drifted. Came home later and later, stopped asking about Mitchell's day, stopped pretending to care. One Tuesday he said, "I don't think I'm built for this." Like fatherhood was a pair of jeans that didn't fit right. I didn't fight him. I was tired of fighting for people who didn't want to stay. Mitchell's been in glasses since she was 5. Severe myopia. Her prescription is so strong that without correction, everything past 2 feet is abstract art. With glasses, she's sharp as a tack. Funny, observant, always 3 steps ahead of the conversation. She's also sensitive. Not fragile, but aware. She picks up on tension the way some kids pick up languages. She knows when someone's lying, when someone's uncomfortable, when she's not wanted even if no one says it out loud. Quinn's kids, Samson, who's 12, and Nakua, who's 9, are what you'd call spirited, which is code for they do whatever they want, and Quinn calls it confidence. Samson's the ringleader, loud, physical, always testing boundaries. Nakua follows his lead, quieter but meaner, the kind of kid who says cutting things with a smile so you can't call him out without looking sensitive. Quinn's husband, Ewers, is fine. He works in finance, makes good money, and has perfected the art of saying a lot of words without saying anything at all. He's the kind of guy who describes himself as logical, but really means, I don't want to deal with emotions. I've helped them more than I should have. When Ewers' company had layoffs 2 years ago and they were panicking about the mortgage, I loaned them $15,000. When Quinn wanted to start her boutique photography business, I built her website for free, watched her kids during her sessions, promoted her work to everyone I knew. They never paid me back. The $15,000 became "we'll get you soon," which became silence, which became me feeling guilty for even thinking about it. But that's what you do, right? You help family, even when they wouldn't do the same for you. Quinn called on a Thursday morning. "Hey, I need a huge favor. I was 3 coffees deep into a coding deadline, but I heard myself say, "What's up?" Ewers has this work thing tonight, networking dinner, super important, and I have a client shoot I absolutely cannot reschedule. Can Mitchell stay with us? Just for a few hours. I hesitated. Mitchell didn't love going to Quinn's house. She never said why exactly, just that Samson and Nakua were a lot, and that she felt weird there. But Quinn was my sister, and Mitchell needed to learn that sometimes family means compromise. "Sure," I said. "I'll drop her off at 4. "You're amazing," she gasped. "Seriously, I owe you." She didn't. The ledger was so lopsided it was practically vertical. Mitchell was quiet in the car. She clutched her library book, something about dragons and magic systems, and stared out the window. "You okay?" I asked. "Yeah." "You don't sound okay." She shrugged. "Samson always wants to play his games, and Nakua makes fun of my glasses." My hands tightened on the wheel. "He makes fun of your glasses?" "It's not a big deal. He just calls me Four Eyes and stuff." It was a big deal, but I also knew that Mitchell was 10 and cousin dynamics were complicated, and maybe I was being overprotective. "If anyone is mean to you," I said carefully, "you can call me any time." Mitchell nodded but didn't look convinced. Quinn's house was one of those suburban McMansions that looked impressive until you realized everything was builder grade and starting to crack. She met us at the door, phone in one hand, camera bag in the other. "Hi, sweetie," she said to Mitchell, barely looking at her. Then to me, "You're amazing. I'll have her home by 8, latest." "Where are the boys?" I asked. "Downstairs. They're playing video games. Mitchell, you can hang out down there or watch TV up here, whatever you want." Mitchell glanced at me. I gave her what I hoped was a reassuring smile. "I'll be fine, Mom," she said quietly. I should have listened to the part of me that wanted to grab her hand and leave. The call came at 6:47 p.m. Not from Quinn, from Mitchell. Her voice was small, shaky, wrong. "Mom?" I was out of my chair before I consciously decided to move. "What's wrong?" Can you come get me? What happened?" Silence. Then, "My glasses broke." My stomach dropped. "Are you hurt?" "No, I just need you to come." "I'm on my way. Stay on the phone with me." I grabbed my keys, my wallet, my phone charger, autopilot survival mode, and ran to the car. "Mitchell, talk to me. What happened to your glasses?"
Before we continue, if you're enjoying this story, please hit that subscribe button and tell us in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is there. We see every single comment, and it means the world to us. Thank you so much for your support. Now, back to the story.
Her voice cracked. "Aunt Quinn got really mad." "Mad about what?" "I don't know. I didn't do anything. I was just..." She stopped. "Just what, baby?" "I was in the kitchen and she was on her laptop and I saw something and she got really mad and she..." Mitchell's breath hitched. "She took my glasses and threw them on the floor and stepped on them." The world tilted. She stepped on them? Really hard, on purpose. They're broken and I can't see and... Mitchell started crying. Not loud, not dramatic. That quiet, swallowed crying that meant she was trying to not be a problem. "I'm 5 minutes away," I said, forcing my voice steady even though everything inside me was screaming. I broke every speed limit, ran 2 stop signs, didn't care. Quinn's front door was unlocked. I walked in without knocking. The living room was empty. I heard voices from the basement, Samson and Nakua arguing about something. Upstairs, Quinn's voice drifted down, bright and fake. Mitchell was sitting on the floor in the hallway between the kitchen and the living room, cross-legged, head down, hands in her lap. Her glasses were on the floor beside her, shattered, the frame bent at a 90-degree angle, both lenses spider-webbed with cracks, one arm completely snapped off. She looked up when she heard me. Her eyes were red, unfocused, lost. "Mom," she whispered. I knelt down and pulled her into my arms. She was shaking. "I've got you," I said. "You're okay. We're leaving." "I'm sorry," she said into my shoulder. "You have nothing to be sorry for." Quinn's voice came from the stairs. "Oh, you're here already?" I stood up slowly, keeping Mitchell behind me. Quinn was descending the stairs, phone still in hand, expression carefully neutral. "What happened?" I asked. My voice didn't sound like mine. Quinn sighed like I was being dramatic. It was an accident. An accident? She was being nosy. She's 10. She was looking at my private work emails. She's 10. And you stepped on her glasses. Quinn's jaw tightened. I didn't step on them. They fell and Mom, Mitchell's voice was quiet but clear. She threw them. Then she stepped on them, hard. Quinn's face flushed. That's not what happened. Then what did happen? I asked. She wasn't listening. She was being disrespectful. She needed to learn. She's 10 years old and you destroyed the medical equipment she needs to see. They're just glasses, Quinn snapped. You can get new ones. The boys appeared at the top of the basement stairs. Samson grinned, Nakua whispered something, and they both laughed. Quinn didn't tell them to stop. I picked up the shattered glasses, looked at them, looked at my daughter, looked at my sister. We're leaving, I said. Quinn threw up her hands. Fine, be dramatic. I took Mitchell's hand. We walked out. In the car, I gave Mitchell my phone. Find a YouTube video to listen to. Something funny. She nodded, still shaking. I drove home on autopilot, my brain running through 1,000 scenarios. When we got inside, I pulled out Mitchell's backup pair, thank God for backups, and she put them on. Her shoulders dropped an inch. Better? I asked. Yeah. I checked her over. No bruises, no cuts. Physically fine. Emotionally, that was going to take longer. Can you tell me exactly what happened? I asked gently. From the beginning? Mitchell took a breath. I was in the kitchen. Aunt Quinn was at the table on her laptop. Samson and Nakua were being loud, and I just wanted to be somewhere quiet. Okay. I wasn't trying to look, I promise, but her screen was facing me, and I saw Grandma's name and a number, like a really big number. My pulse spiked. What kind of number? I don't know. It had a $sign, and it said something about distribution and estate, and I didn't understand it, so I was just standing there trying to read it, and then Aunt Quinn looked up and saw me, and her face got really scary. Scary how? Like, really mad, but also scared. And she slammed the laptop shut and stood up really fast. And she said, "What did you see?" And I said, "I didn't see anything." And she said, "Don't lie to me." And I said, "I wasn't lying." And then she grabbed my glasses off my face. Mitchell's voice went thin. And she said, "Maybe if you can't see, you'll learn to mind your own business." And she threw them on the floor and stepped on them, really hard. I heard them crunch. I felt something cold and sharp settle in my chest. And then what? She told me to clean the kitchen, all of it, the counters, the floor, the table, and I tried, but I couldn't see, and I kept missing spots, and she kept making me do it again. And Samson and Nakua came upstairs and started laughing and calling me blind girl, and Aunt Quinn didn't tell them to stop. Mitchell looked at me, eyes wet. "Mom, what did I do wrong?" "Nothing," I said firmly. "You did absolutely nothing wrong." But Quinn did, and the question burning in my brain was, what was she hiding? I didn't call Quinn that night. I didn't call my mom. I didn't post on social media or send angry texts. I opened my laptop and started digging. Mitchell had said Grandma's name, distribution, estate. Our maternal grandmother, Helen, had died 8 months ago. She'd been wealthy, not millionaire wealthy, but comfortable. Real estate investments, a pension, savings. Mom and Quinn had handled the estate because Stephen and I were too busy and didn't need the stress. I'd signed some papers, hadn't read them carefully because I trusted them. Stupid. I found the estate lawyer's contact info. Dan Spielberg, local firm, good reputation. I sent an email at 11 p.m. Mr. Spielberg, I'm writing regarding the estate of Helen Whitmore, deceased August 2024. I'm her granddaughter and would like to request a full accounting of all distributions. Please contact me at your earliest convenience. Then I did something I should have done 2 years ago. I pulled my bank records. The $15,000 I'd loaned Quinn and Ewers never repaid. But more interesting, around the same time I loaned them that money, there was a deposit into Quinn's account. I could see it because we'd briefly shared access for a vacation fund for $27,000. Source? Estate of Helen Whitmore. My hands stilled on the keyboard. $27,000? While telling me they were broke, while borrowing my money, while I was eating ramen and splitting shifts to make rent. I kept digging. Another deposit, $43,000. Same source, 3 months later. And another, $18,000. I opened a spreadsheet and started tracking. By 2 a.m., I had a picture. Quinn had received approximately $140,000 from Grandma's estate. Stephen had received approximately $95,000. I received nothing. Not $1, not one item, not even a call to say, hey, Grandma left you something. Mom was the executor. Quinn was the co-executor. And they just kept it. Distributed it to themselves and Stephen. Erased me from the equation. At 2:47 a.m., my phone buzzed. Quinn. I don't appreciate you leaving like that. Mitchell was being dramatic. Call me so we can talk like adults. I stared at the message, then I screenshot it and saved it to a folder labeled Evidence. Dan Spielberg's office smelled like old books and fresh coffee. He was mid-50s, gray hair, kind eyes that had seen too many families implode over money. Ms. Carter, he said, shaking my hand, I got your email. Please, sit. I sat, handed him a folder with everything I'd compiled. Bank statements, screenshots, timelines, the text from Quinn. He read in silence. His expression didn't change, but his jaw got tighter. Finally, you weren't informed of your inheritance? No. And you didn't receive any distribution? Not a cent. But you were listed in the will? I assume so? Dan pulled a file from his cabinet, flipped through pages, stopped. You were, he said quietly. Helen Whitmore left her estate to be divided equally among her surviving daughter, your mother, and her 3 grandchildren. Your mother waived her portion to pass directly to the grandchildren. Equal shares. How much? After taxes, debts, and estate fees, the distributable amount was approximately $320,000, divided 3 ways, $106,667.67. The number sat between us like a bomb. I received nothing, I said. I can see that. Dan's voice was careful. Your mother and sister were co-executors. They filed all distribution paperwork. According to their reports, all funds were distributed as specified. They lied. It appears so. What can I do? Dan leaned back. You can file a civil suit for breach of fiduciary duty, demand a full accounting, and seek recovery of your share plus damages. Given the amount involved and the apparent intentional withholding, this is serious. You could also file a police report for theft or fraud. Would that work? Civil suit, almost certainly. Criminal, harder to prove intent, but possible, especially if there's evidence of deliberate deception. I thought about Mitchell's shattered glasses, about Quinn's face when she realized Mitchell had seen something, about 10 years of being the backup sibling, the forgotten one, the one who didn't matter. Do it, I said. All of it? Dan nodded. I'll need a retainer. How much? $5,000. I pulled out my checkbook, wrote the check, slid it across the desk. One more thing, I said. Can you find a restraining order? Against my sister, for my daughter. Dan's expression softened. Tell me what happened. I told him, every detail. Mitchell's account, the shattered glasses, the forced cleaning, the mocking. When he finished, Dan was quiet for a moment. You can file a protective order on behalf of your daughter. Given her age and the nature of the incident, a judge will take it seriously. Do it. Understood. He paused. Ms. Carter, I have to ask, are you prepared for what comes next? This will destroy relationships. Permanently. I thought about Mitchell sitting on Quinn's floor, blind and shaking, apologizing for existing. They destroyed it first, I said. The lawsuit hit like a nuke. Dan filed everything simultaneously. Civil suit against Mom and Quinn for breach of fiduciary duty, theft and fraud, demand for full accounting, motion to freeze their assets pending investigation, protective order for Mitchell, and, because I was done playing nice, I filed a police report. The detective who took my statement was a woman named Rita, mid-40s, the kind of tired that comes from seeing too much human awfulness. Let me make sure I understand, she said, pen poised. Your mother and sister were executors of your grandmother's estate. They distributed funds to themselves and your brother, but withheld your share, approximately $107,000, and never informed you? Yes. And you only discovered this because your sister assaulted your daughter to prevent her from seeing financial documents? She didn't assault her. She destroyed her glasses. Rita looked at me. She forcibly removed medical equipment from a child's face and destroyed it to intimidate her. That's assault and child abuse. The words hung in the air. Can you prove it? Can you get your daughter to make a statement? I thought about Mitchell, about asking her to relive it, about putting her through that. Yes, I said, if it means keeping her safe. Rita nodded. We'll need to interview her. With you present, we'll be gentle. Mitchell was braver than I expected. She sat in the interview room, painted cheerful blue, toys in the corner, trying so hard to not look like what it was, and told Rita everything. Her voice shook, but she didn't cry. Rita recorded it all, asked careful questions, took photos of the shattered glasses I'd kept as evidence. When it was over, she looked at me. I'm opening an investigation, she said. Theft, fraud, and child abuse. This is going to get messy. It already is. The calls started that night. Mom first. How could you? How could you call the police on your own family? I hung up. Stephen next. What the hell is going on? Quinn's freaking out. Mom's crying. What did you do? Ask them what they did with my inheritance. Silence. Then, what? Grandma left me $107,000. Did you know that? More silence. Stephen, did you know? Mom said you didn't want it, that you told her to split it between us. My laugh was sharp. And you believed that? Why wouldn't I? Because it's insane? Because I was eating ramen and working 60-hour weeks? Because I loaned Quinn $15,000 I never got back? Stephen's voice went small. I didn't know. Well, now you do. Quinn didn't call. She sent lawyers. A cease and desist claiming defamation, harassment, and malicious prosecution. Dan read it and laughed. They're panicking. Good. Then Ewers called. Not angry, scared. Please, he said, can we talk? Just you and me? We met at a coffee shop, neutral territory. Ewers looked like he hadn't slept in days. He said, I didn't know about the estate, about the money. Quinn told me her mom gave her some inheritance, but I didn't know it was supposed to be yours too. And the glasses? He flinched. I wasn't there, I swear. I was at that dinner. When I got home, Quinn said Mitchell had broken them and you'd overreacted. She lied. I'm starting to realize that. Ewers rubbed his face. Look, I don't know what to do here. Quinn's my wife. But what she did to Mitchell? He trailed off. That's not okay. And if she stole from you, that's not okay either. Then testify. He looked up, startled. Testify, I repeated. Tell the truth. Help me get my daughter's college fund back. If I do that, my marriage is over. Your marriage is already over. You just don't know it yet. Ewers stared into his coffee. Can I think about it? You have 48 hours. He called back in 24. I'll do it. I'll testify, but I need a lawyer and probably a divorce attorney. Dan can refer you. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. The hearing was set for 3 weeks out. In the meantime, the protective order was granted. Quinn was legally barred from contacting Mitchell or coming within 500 feet of our home or her school. She violated it in 4 days. I was picking Mitchell up from school when I saw Quinn's car in the parking lot. She was standing near the entrance, scanning the crowd of kids. My blood went cold. I called 911 while walking toward her. I need police at Riverside Elementary. Someone's violating a protective order. Quinn saw me. Her face went hard. I just want to talk to her. You're not allowed to be here. She's my niece. She's my daughter. And you have a court order. Leave. Quinn stepped closer. You're poisoning her against me. You're turning her into a victim. You crushed her glasses under your boot. You did that. She was being disrespectful. She's 10. Parents were staring now, kids too. Mitchell emerged from the school and froze when she saw Quinn. Quinn saw her, started toward her. I moved faster, got between them. Don't. Move, Quinn hissed. No. Sirens wailed in the distance. Quinn's face shifted from anger to panic. This is insane. You're insane. The police arrived. 2 officers. They approached calmly. Ma'am, the first officer said to Quinn, we need you to step away. I'm her aunt. And you have an active protective order. You need to leave. Quinn looked at me. For a second, I saw something that might have been regret, or maybe just fear of consequences. Then she turned and walked to her car. The officer took my statement, took photos of Quinn's car, the location, the proximity to Mitchell. Violation documented. She'll be arrested if she does this again, he said. Good. Mitchell was quiet in the car. I glanced at her. You okay? Why does she hate me? God, that question. She doesn't hate you, baby. She's just scared and angry and taking it out on you, which is wrong. Is it because of the money? I'd told Mitchell the broad strokes, that Grandma had left her money for college, that Aunt Quinn and Grandma had kept it, and that we were getting it back. I hadn't told her how much and how ugly it was getting. Yeah, I said, it's about the money. That's stupid. I agree. Are we going to be okay? I reached over and squeezed her hand. We're going to be better than okay. The civil hearing was held in a conference room that smelled of stale air and desperation. Judge Marion presided, 60-something, no nonsense, the kind of woman who'd probably heard every family drama imaginable and was tired of them all. Dan presented our case first. Bank records, estate documents, email chains, testimony from the estate lawyer who drafted Grandma's will and confirmed the equal distribution clause. Then Eeyores testified. He looked miserable. Quinn sat across the room, glaring daggers at him. Mr. Eeyores, Dan said, did your wife ever discuss her grandmother's estate with you? Yes, she said her mom gave her some money, maybe $30,000. She didn't go into details. Did she mention that the estate was supposed to be divided equally among 3 grandchildren? No. Did she mention her sister at all? He hesitated. She said her sister didn't need it, that she made good money and didn't have kids to support. Did you believe that? At the time, yes. And now? Now, I think she lied. Quinn made a noise. The judge gave her a look. Dan continued. Did you witness the incident involving Mitchell's glasses? No, I wasn't home. What did your wife tell you happened? She said Mitchell broke them and you overreacted. And now? Now, I know that's not true. Mom testified next. She was a mess, crying, defensive, spinning a story about how I had been ungrateful and difficult, and how she tried to protect the other grandkids. Dan let her talk. Then he pulled out the bank records. Mrs. Whitmore, can you explain why your daughter Quinn received $140,000 from the estate while your daughter sitting right here received nothing? It wasn't like that. How was it? She didn't need it. Did you ask her? Silence. Did you ask your daughter if she needed her inheritance? No. Did you inform her she had an inheritance? No. Why not? Because Quinn needed it more. She has 3 kids, medical bills, a mortgage. And your other daughter has 1 child and was eating ramen to make rent. Did you know that? She never told me. Because you never asked. The judge's expression said everything. Quinn didn't testify. Her lawyer advised against it. Smart, because she would have perjured herself within 30 seconds. The judge took 2 hours to deliberate. When she returned, her verdict was swift. I find that Mrs. Whitmore and Miss Quinn Ewers, acting as co-executors, willfully and intentionally withheld distributable funds from Miss Carter. I order immediate repayment of $107,000 plus interest totaling $118,400 within 90 days. Additionally, I'm awarding Miss Carter $25,000 in punitive damages and all legal fees. Quinn's face went white. Furthermore, the judge continued, I'm referring this matter to the district attorney's office for criminal investigation. Theft of this magnitude, particularly involving breach of fiduciary duty, warrants prosecution. Mom started crying. Stephen, who'd been sitting in the back, looked sick. Quinn stared at me. Pure hatred. I stared back, unmoved. The criminal charges took longer. The DA's office moved slowly, deliberately, but they moved. Mom and Quinn were charged with felony theft and fraud. Not enough for prison. White-collar crime rarely is, unless you're spectacularly stupid.
If you're enjoying this story so far, please take just 1 second to drop a like and leave a comment. It really helps us keep creating these stories for you, and we genuinely appreciate every single one of you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now, let's get back to.
But enough for consequences. They pled out. Probation, fines, restitution on top of what they already owed, and community service. The kind of community service where people you know see you picking up trash on the highway in an orange vest. The family imploded. Stephen called me, apologetic and useless. I'm sorry. I should have known. I should have asked. Yes, I said. You should have. Can we fix this? No. He returned his portion of the inheritance, $60,000 of the $95,000, kept the rest because he'd already spent it. I didn't fight him. Wasn't worth it. Ewers divorced Quinn. The proceedings were brutal. She fought for everything, lost most of it. He got primary custody of the boys because her criminal record and the protective order against Mitchell made her look unstable. Good. Quinn's photography business died. Word got around. People don't hire family photographers with fraud convictions. Mom stopped speaking to me entirely. Fine. The silence was peaceful. Mitchell started therapy, not because she was broken, but because processing trauma is healthy, and I wasn't going to let this fester. She got new glasses, expensive ones, the kind with all the coatings and protections. I let her pick the frames. She chose purple with little stars. They're perfect, I told her. She smiled. Yeah, they are. 6 months later, Mitchell asked, Do you think Aunt Quinn is sorry? We were making dinner. Spaghetti, her favorite. I think she's sorry she got caught, I said honestly. I don't think she's sorry she hurt you. Mitchell nodded slowly. That's sad. It is. Do you miss them, Grandma and Aunt Quinn? I thought about it. Really thought. No, I said. I miss the idea of them, the family I wanted them to be, but the actual people, no. Me neither, Mitchell said quietly. Then, is that bad? No, baby, that's healthy. She twirled spaghetti on her fork. I'm glad we left. Me too. A year later, Mitchell and I moved. New city, new school, new start. I took a better job, more money, better hours, room to breathe. We bought a small house, nothing fancy, but ours. Mitchell picked her room, painted it teal, hung up bookshelves, filled them with fantasy novels. She made friends, real ones, kids who didn't mock her glasses or treat her like a burden. She laughed more. I did too. The money from the settlement and inheritance went into a trust for Mitchell's education, locked tight, managed by a fiduciary I vetted thoroughly. She'd have college paid for, maybe grad school, maybe a down payment on her first house. Things Quinn's kids wouldn't have now because their mom chose greed. I didn't gloat, I didn't post on social media or send petty messages. I just moved on. Quinn tried to contact me once, about a year in, a long email full of excuses and half apologies and, "If you would just understand." I read the first line and deleted it. Some people don't deserve your energy. Mitchell asked me once, "Do you think I'll ever see them again?" "Maybe," I said, "when you're older, if you want to, but you never have to." "Good," she said, "'cause I don't want to." "That's okay." She hugged me. "Thanks for protecting me, Mom." I held her tight. Always. So, did I go too far? Did I destroy my family over glasses? No. I destroyed a family that was already broken. I just finally stopped pretending it wasn't. Quinn didn't crush those glasses because Mitchell was disrespectful. She crushed them because a child saw evidence of theft and she panicked. She hurt my daughter to protect her crime. Mom didn't withhold my inheritance because I didn't need it. She did it because she'd always loved Quinn more and never thought I'd find out. Stephen didn't speak up because he never has. Silence is easier than courage. And me?